There's been no shortage of media coverage of the Jeffrey Epstein saga, but one person involved has escaped scrutiny. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's ex-girlfriend, who allegedly worked to recruit young girls for Epstein's harem. The attorney for one of his accusers actually called her out by name in a statement issued by their client. Let's take a listen.
After years and years of trying my best to shine light in the dark place of sex crimes that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and their circle of powerful people committed against me and girls just like me, finding the words adequate enough now to express how I feel is a tall task. But I can say without hesitation that I am deeply pleased that the federal prosecutors in New York have arrested Jeffrey Epstein. And our case is taken in a serious way. It is time for Jeffrey Epstein and those who participated in these sex crimes to be brought to justice.
This is a person that really needs to be exposed, and that's what we're going to do right now. Joining me to talk about this woman and why it matters is RT correspondent Michelle Grinstein. Michelle, let's start at the beginning. I mean, this Maxwell, she grew up very privileged thanks to her father's media empire in the UK. Tell us about it. Now the story has been lost because for some reason the media is not turning the attention to this woman like they should be. What's your take?
That's absolutely correct, that she had a very privileged lifestyle. She came from this elite British family, grew up in a 53-room mansion. Her family even had a yacht that was actually named after her by her father. And some of her friends included Prince Andrew, who ended up, as we know, becoming a frequent guest of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is all because her father, Robert Maxwell, is a name among media moguls like William Randolph Hearst or maybe Rupert Murdoch. He's just as big as those players. He owned tabloids, including the Daily Mirror. He had a stake in MTV Europe, and he's one of the most well-known personalities in the UK in the 50s and 60s. So this is a man who was a Jewish citizen of Czechoslovakia. He left when the Nazis came, of course, enrolled in the British Army, and actually connected with British intelligence.
Let's go to her. Okay, she comes to the United States. He dies in what looks like a suicide, rolls off a boat. At the time that this suicide or death occurs, what he's done is he has stolen money from the pension plans of the papers that he works for. So she comes to the United States. She's lost her fortune. She needs to get it back. She comes as what we call, in New York, they love to use the term social fixer, whatever in the world that means, but she's a social fixer. Epstein's attracted to that because Epstein, he has really no social connections. He has a lot of money, according to the story, but truthfully, he doesn't have the connection she has. So she needs he needs her social connections, and she needs his money.
That's right.
So take it from there. That relationship grows, doesn't it?
Sure. She came to the 90s after the death of her dad, and it's absolutely right what you're saying. Her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein, basically offered her this rich and grand lifestyle, which of course included things like a private jet or a townhouse in Manhattan. But she also did have a bit to offer as well, like you're alluding to. Her social life was almost out of a movie. She was reportedly friendly with Bill Clinton, the British royal family, as I mentioned before. And this is a partnership that, although it started as a romance, definitely continued even after the romance ended. So it was a two-way street in that he gave her money and she gave him access to these social circles, coming from, at the very least, a very well-connected family who, at the very most, was also quite a controversial figure. Okay,
so here's the deal. Let's get to the heart of it. 3 women accuse her of basically nothing short of just, it's a sexual attack. There are different stories by different women. Each time she says, no, that didn't happen, but each time, at least in 2 of the cases, she settles with them. It's a sealed settlement. She acts like, well, I just did it because I had to. No, she had to do it because she was caught, and these people's affidavits are startling. As you look at the affidavits, of course, one of the affidavits talks about the fact that Maxwell actually trained women how to take care of men. That, almost, she was a madam. I mean, she told them how to engage in oral sex. How do you go about doing it? How do we take care of tiny little Jeffrey? How do we make sure that Jeffrey is happy? How do we make sure that all the men that Jeffrey brings in are happy? Why don't you take it from there with the notion of understanding this, very important. Both cases, she settled, and those documents have been sealed. They have the chance of being unsealed in the next few weeks. What's your take?
That's right. She's been accused in these civil suits essentially of luring women into Epstein's web. So Ghislaine allegedly acted as a recruiter and sometimes even as a participant in this sexual abuse. One of those victims, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, the same alleged victim that you quoted in the beginning here, says that much of her grooming actually came from Ghislaine herself. And that included Ghislaine actually instructing her how to essentially give Epstein what he wants, from being quiet to subservient to flat-out instructions on how to give him oral sex. She says that a lot of that quote-unquote training came from Ghislaine herself. Now, Maria Farmer is another one of these victims who also alleged that both Epstein and Ghislaine actually sexually assaulted her while she was a graduate student, and that they flew her 15-year-old sister to his private island in the Virgin Islands, to Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, and ordered this 15-year-old to take off her clothes and also touched her improperly. In fact, another alleged victim in the same case says that while at the Virgin Islands, where she was forced to have sexual relations with Epstein, Maxwell appeared to essentially be in charge of what all these girls do. So at the very least, if these allegations are false, Ghislaine is an enabler.
Well, look, I got to tell you something. There's no reason you don't prosecute this case. I was a prosecutor. I understand what it takes to prosecute a case. There's all you need on this woman.
Right.
But right now, she's somewhere. Nobody will tell us. Her lawyers say that she's in London, but we don't know where she is. So other people say she's in the islands. Obviously, she knows it's coming. She's trying to avoid having to come back to the United States because she knows how dangerous this is. Okay, let me run something by you. She, even after these cases take place, the publicity is all over the place. AP picks it up, Reuters picks it up. Everybody's writing about this dirtbag Epstein and his Madam Maxwell. Okay, that doesn't stop anything, does it? She comes to New York, and she is the socialite. Even after all this, she's hanging around with, the glamorous people. Here's how they describe her. Well, she was wickedly funny and glamorous and savoir-faire, absolutely famous. All these terms used by these nutcases who know clearly what her history is. Now, if you read what they have to say, this is incredible to me. It starts with, I vaguely know her. Maybe I saw her one time at a fundraiser. I never knew about the sex abuse, even though, as I say, it was on AP, Reuters, everywhere. Right. And I love this one. She's describing. Somebody asked one of them, well, you know her background, and the description is, well, we don't really ask questions like that around people that we hang out with. It just isn't proper. So there's this mass exodus from what I call the social A-list.
Right.
And the problem I have with it, maybe I want to know your reaction to it, the problem I have with it is these people knew exactly who this woman was. Knew exactly what she had done, knew exactly the relationship with Epstein. And nevertheless, it's this, let's all hug. Let's have a kumbaya moment.
Continue
this woman
with her.
is so important. Give me your take on it.
Sure. I mean, she's definitely been described as like a socialite, very exuberant. So it makes sense that it was her job to essentially jazz up Epstein's social life. But of course, no one wants to admit to, being connected to someone who is involved in such a scandal. It absolutely makes sense that everyone's trying to distance themselves. But like you're kind of alluding to, she certainly developed her own relationships with these social circles outside of Epstein. It's even been said that a lot of the reason why people even talked to Epstein was because of her, was because of Ghislaine, that she was the real draw for people. And after all these scandals started to emerge in the 2000s, her reputation seemed to survive all of them. She, founded this nonprofit to save the oceans. She seemed to have survived all of these Epstein scandals. And even the year after she got her first subpoena in a lawsuit filed by Virginia Giuffre, she was seen at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. So it seems like they didn't mind enough to, disinvite her from something like that.
Right. She remains part of the social A-list, even though even at this point, We know that she settled the cases. We know exactly what the history is of Jeffrey Epstein. It's such an odd setting up in New York and in L.A. where they embraced this woman, said, yeah, she's really one of us. Look, thanks for joining me. I want to pick up this story. My prediction is she's going to be charged. She certainly can be charged with conspiracy. That's
right.
prediction.
I mean, if these allegations are true, she is at the very least a co-abuser and should be charged as such.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me, okay?
Thank you.